EDC videos are kind of one of my favorites to look at on YouTube, and I really like making them as well, but I can't make them all the time because not a lot changes. But in fact, this time around, a fair few things have changed. It's been over 10 months since I last spoke about what I'm carrying with me every day. And yeah, plenty has changed, so I think we should get straight into it. This EDC list is broken down into the definites, which absolutely come with me every single day, and then a few maybes as well, which come with me on longer days. Okay, first new thing, which I talked about a little bit before in some other videos, is the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and I've got it in the natural titanium color. And this has honestly been another wonderful update to the iPhone. The titanium has made it a little bit lighter, and the design updates have been really nice. There's a smaller bezel on the front display now, which makes it feel a lot more futuristic, and the overall fit and feel with the kind of more rounded sides have been really nice. But obviously the bigger update this year was with the video and being able to record Apple log footage. Now, I could always get really nice footage out of an iPhone, it's been the best for a long time, but the fact you can now record in log and then color it after the fact has been really, really nice. And as a creator, that's just given me loads more options. And when it comes to the camera for photos as a whole, this has been really good, but I wouldn't say it's been too dissimilar from the iPhone 14 Pro Max. I got really nice photos out of that, and I get really nice similar photos out of this too. I actually took this with me on a trip to London recently, and all the photos I got out of it were just wonderful, even if they did feel kind of similar to what the iPhone 14 Pro Max did before. So yeah, overall, I've been really happy with the upgrade. I am one of those people which upgrades all the time because I'm kind of in this content game, so making content about the new iPhone is just something I do for a job. But I think if you're on an iPhone 13 Pro or higher, you don't really need to upgrade. But if you're on the 12 or lower, then you'll see plenty of upgrades with this thing. It's been a great overall phone. Talking of iPhone and EDC stuff, this video is brought to you by MOFT and their Snap-on phone stand and wallet. MOFT makes some really cool stuff, and this wallet is a wonderful example of their unique style. Not only does it act as a wallet for up to 2 cards, but it also stands the phone up in 3 different modes. There's a portrait mode for browsing, a landscape mode for watching stuff, and then a raised mode for things like video calls. It comes in a bunch of different colors as well, which is awesome, and obviously the Sage one is for me. If you do have a MagSafe compatible iPhone, you've got to check these out. It just snaps on and you're good to go. These pair really well with MOFT's Movus cases too, which are made with vegan leather and are MagSafe compatible. You can get some really nice two-tone looks when you combine these. Anyway, thanks again to MOFT for sponsoring this video. Let's get back to it. Secondly is another thing which has changed. Now, the watch I've been using for the longest time is the Apple Watch, and at the moment I've got the Series 8, which I still use occasionally, but I'm actually having a bit of a break from the Apple Watch at the moment, and a video will be coming soon explaining that, and if it's already out, I'll link it up here so you can see it. And to replace it, or to kind of keep those health tracking things which I really liked about the Apple Watch, I have been wearing this. This is the Ultra Human Ring Air. And the idea of this is to keep all the health tracking stuff without getting all the notifications and stuff through the Apple Watch. And so far it's kind of done an okay job. When I first got it, the health tracking wasn't like the best, but it is still in beta, but it has gotten slowly better over time. And the last few times I've checked it against my Apple Watch when I've been working out or doing some sport, it's been almost as good, or what feels very similar, which has been great. What I will say though is the sleep tracking is really good, or at least I assume it is because I'm obviously asleep. It gives you loads of information on the app about your sleep and how you can improve it and things like that, which has been pretty useful, and it gives you suggestions on when you should sleep and all those sorts of things. I will say that the app is quite nicely designed, but it is somewhat tricky to use. It's not overly obvious where to put in a workout or to put in other little bits and bobs. The only thing I don't like about the Ring really specifically at the moment, but it is coming soon, is it doesn't integrate with the Apple Fitness rings. So whenever I do a workout, it doesn't add to those Apple Fitness rings like the Apple Watch does, but they have told me that that's coming soon. Wearing jewellery isn't something I would ever normally wear, but I've quite enjoyed wearing this ring. But one of the unseen sort of pitfalls which has happened to me from that is because I'm so not used to wearing a ring, and this one is so well built and it's, really sturdy, is it's actually scratched my phone to bits, at least on the front screen. Now, I'm not a huge user of screen protectors, but since using this ring, every time I get the phone out of my pocket, the ring kind of touches the screen or where I'm holding it or something like that, and I'll get some close-ups. But basically what's happened is I've got so many micro scratches on my phone now. So it's something you need to be really careful of, and something I wish I was more careful of. So jumping off from the ring there, and if you're wondering if this video is just a video in disguise to talk about watches, then it kind of is, because my passion for kind of mechanical watches has exploded recently. I've really enjoyed having this old mechanical clockwork machine on my wrist, and I've talked about a few of these before, but I'm going to share my collection with you now. This is my Nomos Club Campus 38 in the night colorway, and this is honestly my favorite watch since I bought it. It kind of goes with any outfit, and Nomos as a company is a brand I really appreciate. It is hand winding, so I have to wind it up every other day to keep it ticking, but it's a beautiful watch. It's razor slim, and I just absolutely love the design and the minimalistic styling on this one. But I also have a few others. I'm a big fan of Seiko and the Seiko 5 range, and one that I've loved for a long time is this completely blacked out or murdered out Seiko 5 Sports, which is the SKX style. I put a new strap on this because they really do need it, Seikos, and I really like this watch for days when I just want to wear something black and low key. It's kind of got that classic diver feel, which is just really popular, and that leads into my current everyday wear watch, which I'm wearing at the moment. This is from Seiko's Presage line, and this is the Seiko 60s style in stealth. Now, I really like blacked out watches, completely like the one I just showed you, but unfortunately anytime past kind of 6 PM or something, they're really hard to see, so I needed one with better lume, and this one just fit the bill. This has a kind of more vintage design for it, and it's from the Presage line, which makes it a little bit higher quality, but it also has really great lume, so when it goes past 6 PM, I can actually see the time, which is obviously really, really important. And Seiko is often a point where I tell people to start looking at watches, because you just get so much for your money. You get this wonderful exhibition case backs, you get a huge variation of styles and designs to pick from. They're absolutely worth checking out. And talking about a lot of watch for the money, I also obviously have a Casio, and this is the A168 YES, I believe, I think so, and this was about £25, and it is probably more watch than all of my others, especially when it comes to the money. And this style of Casio is such a classic look. You see it in so many films, you still see loads of celebs wearing it, and if you want a watch and you don't want to spend much money at all, look at Casio. They're an incredible brand and they do incredible things. And finally, rounding out my kind of little collection I've got at the moment is the Omega Moon Swatch. I have the Mission to Jupiter here. This one, I'm not overly proud to admit, is a fake. I still can't buy them where I live at the moment, so I can't waltz into a shop, and getting them online is still really hard. And funnily enough, this is the watch I often get most asked about, even though it's the cheapest one in the collection. Moving on from there is something I mentioned in my favourite tech of the year video. This is my Carhartt wallet, which is called the Pocket Wallet, I think, and it's just a really nice wallet, which is super minimal too. Just holds cards, there's no places for cash or anything like that, because I very, very rarely use cash, especially not here in the UK. But this is wonderful, and the reason I switched to this from my Herschel one, which I liked before, was because on the top here it's got a small eyelet, which you could put an Airtag onto, which is something I've been meaning to do for ages, and I've finally done it now, because my wallet is honestly the thing I lose or misplace the most. But getting an AirTag into a wallet is actually quite hard, because AirTags are actually quite thick and quite bulky. So I found a really nice little solution. I bought this little tag, which is from Ley Lion, which actually fits within the AirTag. You have to take the AirTag apart and put it together with this back on it, and it doesn't add any bulk to the AirTag at all, and gives it a way to hang something on. And I've attached it to my wallet with something even more useful, which is this little Peak Design puck, which is what I use for all of my camera equipment, because I use Peak Design straps and things like that. This is part of that ecosystem, so if I was ever in a pinch, I could take this off and use it to attach my camera to my strap or my tripod to something or anything like that. That's been super useful. So that's kind of 3 things in one, and it also means my wallet is now completely tracked and I can make it shout if I lose it or something like that. Really, really love this setup. It's been something I've wanted for ages, so I'm so happy I finally got it all together. Staying with things that are directly in my pockets is my keys next, and there's not much to talk about here because not much has changed, but I'm still using the Orbit key organizer to keep all my keys from jangling around in my pocket, and that's being held onto my car key with an Orbit key ring, which has this really neat snapping system which lets me put things on and off it really, really easily. What is nice about this Orbit key organizer though is because I got a level one, it's starting to patina really nicely, so it's getting all sorts of dents and scratches on it, which kind of just add to the overall look and aesthetic of it. And the other thing in my pocket as well, in my coat pocket, sorry, which is just here, is my AirPods Pro 2. And these honestly have just been so fantastic. I've talked about them a lot before, but when my AirPods Pro first generation died, I was tempted by some other brands, but in the end I just came straight back to the AirPods Pro because they do such a good job. The ANC is stunning, the sound is actually surprisingly better than the first generation, and I've got all the nice updates with Find My and the MagSafe charging, which my previous ones didn't have. So I really like them. The only other brand I particularly look at would be the Nothing Ear 2s. I was kind of tempted by those because I've heard nothing but good things, and maybe if I wasn't an iPhone user, I'd grab those. But yeah, still using the AirPods Pro 2 and still loving them. Last up on the definites for my EDC stuff, and this is pretty much because it stays in my bag or inside my coat pocket because it's so small, is the Miyoo Mini Plus. This is a retro emulator which kind of gives you all the games from Game Boy up to about PS1. It's got a really nice screen so games look like crisp and sharp, and it's really good if I just need to burn 20 minutes or something like that. I've been enjoying playing Pokemon Emerald because I never had that as a child, because I was kind of just growing out of playing those games at that point, so going back and playing that has been really nice, and playing games like Link's Awakening again has just been really fun on this small device. It's not amazing for kind of extended play because it's so small it hurts my hands after a little bit, but for a quick jaunt this is really fun, and that rounds up all of my definites for sure. Okay, let's move to the maybes now, and these are the things which I take with me occasionally if I know if I'm going somewhere for maybe a longer period of time, or if there's a train involved or something like that. And the first up is new to me, even though I've had the device for a long time, is the Amazon Kindle. This is just the basic one, which now has a backlight, which is really useful. But I finally started reading books again, and I hate to be overly boring or overly British, but I have started reading Harry Potter again. I'm nearly towards the end of the second book. I haven't actually read Harry Potter since the first time I read them when I was a kid, so like 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. So going back and reading them and appreciating them as an adult has been really fun. They're just such fun and easy books to read, especially the first ones anyway. So I've been enjoying the Kindle a lot. There's a lot of other books I want to get through this year, and I'd really like to make it a habit, even though I'm actually quite bad when it comes to reading. I either do it a lot or I don't do it at all. Okay, next up, and these two things would definitely be something which entails a longer day, would either be my Switch OLED, and I'm just about to start playing Pikmin 4 on there, which I'm really excited about, or the Steam Deck. This is the OLED version, and I've honestly got so much to say about this. I did touch on it in a video before, but I've been using it for a long time to really develop my thoughts before I make a video. But I've been playing Baldur's Gate 3 on here, which is a game I wanted to check out after it won all the awards, and honestly, I'm not overly sold on the whole system as a whole. There's lots of things I really love about it, there's lots of things I really don't like about it, so I will absolutely make that video soon. But yeah, those have been fun, and on a train or something like that, which I do relatively often, these are really great companions. And the last kind of item I wanted to touch on for my maybe list is still the Fujifilm X-E4, and my relationship with this is getting a little bit more complicated. Since Apple put out the iPhone 14 Pro, and I'm obviously on the 15 Pro Max now, the camera on that iPhone has gotten so good that I don't feel I need to take this with me anymore. I used to love taking this with me on trips to London or smaller trips abroad, but for an example, I went to Porto last year and I took my Fuji with me, planning to use it all the time, but for the kind of landscapey shots I was getting, shots where I don't need depth or anything like that, my iPhone was more than good enough, especially shooting in Pro RAW mode. It just gave me all of that editing flexibility that I needed. So yeah, I'm using this a lot less than I have been. However, when I do use it or I do take it with me, I just put it in JPEG mode and just enjoy what the Fuji throws out. And usually it throws out such wonderful looking images. I've been very happy with this for a long time. But what I will say is the X-E4 is fantastic. It's actually smaller than the X100 range, which is kind of wild. The decision to know what lens to put on it and anything like that kind of takes away from the idea for it. When I start changing lenses and doing all that sort of thing, it reminds me of work and not in a particularly good way. So I think I might go with whatever Fuji puts out next for the X100 series and just use that as a travel camera. So there's no decisions about what lens I should take or anything like that. It's kind of all built into one. But for now, I'm still using this occasionally, and when I do, it produces those really wonderful results. It's just funny to see how far the iPhone has come to the point where I don't overly feel like I'm missing out if I don't take this anymore, and I absolutely used to. Okay, last thing, when I am going out for a longer day or something like that, I will take a bag with me, and at the moment the bag that I'm still using, even though I've made it particularly clear I don't like it, is the Peak Design Everyday Bag. Now I won't go into all the reasons I dislike this bag in this video, but why I'm bringing this up again is because I've actually ordered a new bag, and I think it's going to finally bring me to the end of trying to find the perfect bag, or at least I hope so anyway. I've actually backed the new Peter McKinnon Luma backpacks, which are kind of a smaller version of his big main backpack, so I've heard nothing but good things about it, and I think that smaller bag is going to sort me out for everything. It can be a camera bag when I need it to, and just a normal everyday backpack when I don't need it to do that, which is kind of what I was hoping the Peak Design bag would do for me, but it just kind of hasn't, even though I'm using it at the moment. So I've ordered that, and of course I've ordered it in the Sage colorway, so I'm kind of really excited to see that when it arrives, and I'm really hoping that that will just solve all of my bag issues. And when it does finally arrive, I'll do a big post about what's in my tech bag, because it's pretty different to all the stuff I showed you today. So that pretty much rounds up this video. I would love to know what you're using for your EDC, or if you've got any cool items which you think I should check out, which would be really great additions. I'd love to hear from you, so let me know in the comments below, and I will see you all in the next one.